I'm Justin Davis, and this is Runcam's RC. Hey guys, welcome back to the Runcam's channel. Today we have something new from Foxeer. We're going to check out the Arrow Micro. I have three of them right here. A little tiny blue one here with an eSheen VTX back here hooked up to it with the wiring that they include with it. I also have a blue one here and a black one here. Now they also make an orange one like you see there. That's the Runcam Micro, by the way. I just have that sitting out to compare for you guys. Now what's cool about this camera? Well, it's a super micro size Sony CCD camera, and it's very nice resolution, 650 TVL, and it has a really nice built-in OSD for on-screen display, not just for going into the menus on the back side of this camera for the settings, WDR and all that good stuff. It actually has on-screen display for your telemetry, for your battery telemetry, your aircraft name, and you can add your time flown on the battery. So very cool that you can add all of that to something this small. And if you want to put this on a larger quad too, if you have some sort of 3D printed part, you can add this on a larger quad too, just to save some space and save a little bit of weight on the quad. So here we have the two sitting next to each other, the Runcam Micro next to the Foxeer Arrow Micro, and you can see some differences right away. You can see that this Runcam actually has a little bit larger of a lens, a little wider, and it does look quite a bit different there. And the Foxeer is a little bit heavier, but the Foxeer Arrow has something that the Runcam Micro doesn't have, which is an on-screen display. So Foxeer kind of picked up the ball and ran with it. They knew that a lot of us wanted some kind of a battery telemetry on here. If you're flying a flight controller that doesn't have OSD, this is kind of nice because you can just add this camera and solder in the harness cable that comes off of the back of it straight to your VBAT, and you can have battery telemetry, real-time battery telemetry. Now I did get a production version and I got a prototype version of these particular cameras, and this is the harness that comes with it right here. So all of these are essentially wound up into one cable harness that has everything in here for you. It has your OSD programmer cable, and this can hook straight up to the board that comes with it, and it's this little guy right here, has this little end that plugs in, and then you can navigate the menus. If you long press here, it'll pull out the menu. If you long press here, it'll actually take you into being able to change your name and a few other on-screen settings. Now when you go into the menu here, and I'll show you this in just a minute, this one also has something this one doesn't have. It actually has voltage adjustment. So if you're looking at your OSD in Betaflight and it shows something different than what you see on the camera here, you can go in there and you can adjust that in the power setting. That's kind of a neat option for the Runcam Micro. And also on this harness you have your video, 5-volt and ground cable. Now I'm going to go ahead and weigh them out for you, and the word on the street is that the Runcam Micro is actually a little bit lighter than the Foxeer Arrow Micro, and this one's weighing in at 5.6 grams, and I'll weigh that twice just to make sure this scale is being accurate. And try to get it right in the middle. 5.6 grams for the Runcam Micro. Now let's do the Foxeer Arrow Micro. Let's see what we get. 6.1 grams for the Arrow Micro, and it is a little bit heavier, but with the added features on there, I think that's justifiable. It's not even a whole gram heavier, so it's not going to be a big difference on your Micro. So now you're looking at the back of the Foxeer Arrow Micro and the Runcam Micro Swift. Now these companies are so much alike, it's kind of amazing. It's almost like they're the same company, but they're not. They're competitors, and they're doing a good job at keeping it competitive out there and making some really nice stuff for us, because I'm a big fan of Runcam, and I'm also a fan of Foxeer, mainly because both of them are the top cameras out there in the market right now. They might be a little more expensive than some of the real cheapy ones that you can get, but they make a big difference once you hook it up to your quad. And both of these micro cams are what I'm trying to move up to for most of my sub 120 millimeter size quadcopters this year. It's really a huge upgrade for something like an AIO camera. Those old school AIO cameras probably are going to go the way of the Buffalo here pretty shortly. But you're looking at the back of both of these now. You kind of see that Runcam Micro Swift has a separated OSD port over here, and I kind of like that. It's separated from the 5-volt ground and video cable over here, and this one's an all-in-one deal. So what you're going to have with that harness is you're going to have that one piece hanging off to the side, but not a real big deal, because what I usually do is I take those and I just put a little dab of hot glue and I just gently rest it somewhere on the outside edge of the quadcopter so I can get to it with the OSD programmer out in the field. Pretty simple. Now if you are just getting into FPV or FPV racing, or just FPV flying in general, you're buying these for planes or quadcopters, there are quite a few different sizes out there, and it's kind of confusing on what you should get or what you shouldn't get. So mostly I'm flying these on my micro quads, something like 90 size on up to 120 millimeter size quads, and then I'm going to something a little larger like the Runcam Split when I go 120 and above. You could actually add this one on something. They actually have a 3D printed part that will allow this one to be converted to a 20 millimeter standoff so that you can add it to a micro. So that's a pretty cool idea for the Runcam Split. Now we also have the Runcam Eagle here, and this is kind of a full-size camera, and look how much larger this one is next to these two micros. Mostly these are being run on 180 and 210s and 250 size quadcopters. And then we have the Foxeer Mini here. That's the Arrow Mini, and that one you can put on anything from a 200 all the way down to around 100 size. So a very, very light camera. This one is super, super light. It has just a little bit bigger lens, maybe a little bit better image quality than the Runcam Micro and the Foxeer Arrow Micro. Now I have seen people putting these on larger racer quads on 180s and 250 size and 200s. So it is doable. You just need a 3D printed part and the right VTX on there. And that one's 5.5 grams. That's the lightest one in the class. And the Arrow is 5.8. I think it was 5.7 earlier. It's reading 5.8. I'll just weigh that one more time. Yeah, 5.8. Now look how much heavier something like a full-size camera is, like the Runcam Eagle. 17.8 grams. Quite a bit difference. Way heavier. So you can really save a lot of weight on your quad by putting a micro on there. Now the Foxeer Arrow Mini, that one's 9.2 grams. So this is actually not too much heavier than these micros. This is a really light camera for its size. And then the Runcam Split here, I'll try to get that all on the scale for you. Now this is not really going to be fair, because what this is doing is this is essentially allowing you to fly without a GoPro on your quad. So you can fly without a GoPro and have a really nice camera on your quad for 22.9 grams. That's actually kind of amazing. Okay, so I have a battery plugged in and I have my cable plugged into the back of that OSD harness there. And let's just go ahead and show you how to use this. It's pretty simple. If you press once in the middle, it'll bring up that internal menu, and this is all of your regular settings right here, which I'm showing you right there on the goggles. I'm not going to change anything there. I'm going to leave it completely stock for our demo today. So you get to see how this camera flies out of the box. Now if I long press on that up arrow right there, it's going to take me into the internal OSD menu, and I have a lot of stuff to change here. I can change up my name just by pressing the center there. The center button will take me to the A through Z menu, and you also have numbers and some characters there. So I can get pretty creative with that. I can go previous all the way back around, or I can go next, forward. So it's kind of cool. You can go forward and backwards, or you can delete a single number or letter. And when I'm happy, I can exit and go out. Now this is ratio, and ratio is cool because ratio is what I was telling you guys about before. If you have a sort of an issue with seeing Betaflight, what you're seeing in Betaflight for your battery voltage, and you're seeing something different on the screen, you can change this 100 number down and up to be able to reflect the correct voltage that Betaflight is seeing directly from your battery. So that's kind of cool that it allows this camera to do that, because the Runcam Micro doesn't actually have that option. So that's kind of cool from Foxeer that they have that. Now they also have presets in here. The next one down is the camera mode, Right now it's in default, and I left that for you guys in this demo. You can do vivid, sunny day, cloudy day. User 1 might be a preset that you can set up and save, and back to default. Now, font, you have 3 different fonts on here, SO, SO1, and SO2. I didn't think any of these other fonts were very good. They were kind of dark. It was hard for me to see, so I left mine on SO. And you can change your name on and off. So I'm going to leave mine on. My time I'm going to leave on. And my power for my battery, I'm going to leave that on instead of having it off. And you can go back and reset all the way back to the default settings. And now I'm going to exit, and now we can go out to the field and do some flying, you guys, and I'll show you what this camera is all about. Okay, let's go ahead and start up this flight demo with this Foxeer Arrow Micro. It's a pretty cool camera, guys. I like it mainly because check out this. Right away I'm flying under these trees just to give you some sort of dynamic range between light and shadow here coming out into the light. It transitions really well from dark to light. I like that a lot. It's not super glitchy or strange. It has a really nice transition. Now you're seeing quite a bit of static here because I had the spin of death earlier. It's kind of like the reviewer's curse that something will go wrong, but you can see that this camera is not bad. It's way better than something like an AIO camera. So I'm just kind of cruising back under those shadows for you guys. My VTX being a little finicky after that spin of death. You don't know what the spin of death is. It's when your micro ESC resets and it causes the quad to go into a violent spin at the ground. In my case, I landed on the concrete, so that was not too cool. But I'm back up in the air, and it seems to be kind of, maybe it's getting warm now, and it's doing a little less interference there. And this is a nice little spot to fly these, mainly because I've got a lot of darks and lights here, a lot of shadows I can run in and go under. And I can test out a little bit of range because this field goes way over for this micro. Now this piggyback is that eSheen piggyback VTX for this particular micro cam. It also works on the Runcam too. I forgot what the number of that is. Whoops. Kind of hit the concrete there. But it's nice to have your name, your pilot name down on the left. You've got your battery telemetry there in the middle, the runtime over there on the bottom right. And what's cool about this one is this one's the production version, so this one's all hashed out and working correctly. The voltage is not dropping and rising like in crazy increments like I saw for another reviewer's camera. He got a prototype version as well, like I did originally, and it had some voltage issues, and I think they updated the firmware on these so that the voltage issue was fixed. The voltage in the middle of the screen was kind of going crazy. Now you can see it jump down to 6 when I punch out, but it's going to rise back up when you're not putting as much throttle into your battery pack. Mainly on those punch outs when you're going to do those big maneuvers. But it's nice because I'm cruising around here under trees and I can see these gaps coming and I can really get in kind of close, personal, a little too close there for a second. But I can get in nice and close to small gaps and I can see what's coming with this camera, and that's pretty important. I did find one ghost branch out here somewhere, ended up having to walk for it. But I feel like I have a pretty good field of view as well. I don't think it's quite as wide as the Runcam Micro. I think the Micro has a little wider field of view than this one does. Man, there's a lot of trees to play around with out here in this field. It's kind of nice. And this is the default setting, by the way, guys. I didn't change any of the different presets on this. So this is what the camera would look like out of the box. It's kind of important for me to show you because some of these Runcams and Foxeer cameras, you have to do a lot of tuning out of the box, and I didn't like that. But that happens to me when I have prototypes a lot. They have to be tuned a little bit. Hey, and there's that tree. So I'll go ahead and start another battery here, and I'm going to end this pretty quick, but I'm going to let you hear the volume on here too, because you can actually record the motor volume, and you can hear the motors running on here. It's kind of nice that it does have some sort of mic on board, so cool. This thing has just about everything. So thanks for watching this full review on the new Foxeer Micro Arrow Micro. Have a good day, guys. Hope you're enjoying your summer. I'm Justin Davis. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye-bye.